there, I'm Saki Miata. I was just interviewed by Keith Andrew. It was so much fun. Please watch. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with the talented and beautiful Saki Miata. This is episode 700 of the Keith Andrew Network. We're on the road to 800. Very special guest, Saki Miata. It's a real honor and privilege to have you as a guest on the show. I'm looking forward to our interview and building a friendship with you as well. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me here. This is such a great honor. Thank you so much.
No, the honor is all mine. For people who want to know who the talented and beautiful Saki Miata is, you are a professional actress. Mm-hmm. You are a professional voiceover actress. You are a producer. And you also work in, you are a personal translator.
Yes, translator, interpreter, pretty much whatever falls on my lap.
Yeah, I do have a lot of great ideas that you can help me with. I was thinking about expanding the Keith Andrew Network. If you don't mind asking, you're from Japan, right?
Yes, I'm originally from Japan. Well, now I've lived in LA for 25 years, something like that. So, this is where I've lived the longest. I have lived in LA for a half year too. I used to do this Wall Street. I was there for Wall Street training for JP Morgan. So
nice.
I love it in New York. Yeah, I have some friends there, and I just visited in last fall. Yeah.
If you're ever in New York, we should definitely get lunch or something.
Definitely. Hopefully we'll be able to visit each other soon, right?
Well, hopefully once there's a vaccine, things start going back to normal. But actually, while we're on the subject, the first thing I do want to talk to you about, actually, do you want to talk about the quarantine first, or do you want to talk about your acting career?
Whichever. Well, quarantine thing, it's been a while, right? Gosh. We didn't expect this to, we kind of figured it was gonna take a while, but so during the quarantine, a lot of my actor friends, they were alone. I'm married, so I'm actually, better than the people that are alone.
Right.
But, and so, we've been talking to each other, and we would do some virtual happy hour. But then after a while, I also teach English to Japanese people. And so after a while, I'm like, okay, so my students couldn't come to my place, because of this. And so now I was teaching them online, like Zoom or, FaceTime or anything we could. But after a while, I thought, hey, if I could do this, I could teach anyone in the world, right? So I started my YouTube channel. It's called American English Aha. And we just uploaded the 3rd episode yesterday. And it's targeted to Japanese speakers to be able to speak English a little better way. Because a lot of the YouTube teachers, I was investigating, not really rivals, because I guess YouTube channel, you kind of work with each other, because while your video is running, you would see some thumbnails of other ones that are kind of similar category. So, I was kind of researching, right? But they just teach, but they don't really encourage people to really train the muscles. So my channel is a lot more about training muscles, like mouth and everything, because Japanese language is kind of like this, and you can speak from the front of your face. But American English, it's really here and really a lot, the entire body, and people don't really realize that. So I've been encouraging people to do that. And some people are like, you should charge for this. And I'm like, well, today's age with all the technology and all the online education, I think this is great way for the riches and the poor. Everybody can learn in the same platform, So I'm really I wouldn't really want to charge for it, like unless I really have to, you know. Yeah, so now I'm trying to build up my reputation for being able to teach like new things, you know. And for me, I didn't really realize that my English was really Japanese English until I came to Hollywood and I started taking auditions, and I only got like Japanese roles, like Ninja Girls and Geisha Girls. And then I was on a South Park episode called Chinpokomon, and it's, you know, yeah, I don't know what, you know, if you know Chinpokomon means, but it means weenie, okay? And they're, yeah, they're making fun of Pokemon. It's really clever. These guys are really like genius, I think. But yeah, so you know, I'm speaking like Torai to Bamzahaba, lady. Oh, like this, like old Japanese English, you know? And then like I asked my agent, hey, I want to go. Why am I not getting other auditions? You know? And my agent was like, listen to yourself. You might want to get, you know, like accent reduction coach. And I was like, what is that? You know, I had no idea, you know, because I went to high school and college in Michigan, but nobody ever told me my English was bad. So I thought my English was perfect, you know. I still have a little accent, but you know, I'm still working it out, you know, just like other people that have disadvantage, you know, like I have to really work at it. And when I get some roles, I really have to work at it, like with the language. But I'm having a great time. I think I went sidetrack. Okay, so about the quarantine. So, yeah, I think I'm out of the cloud. You know what I mean? Like in the beginning, I was like on the verge of crying because I felt like the world was just crushing. You know, I don't know if you felt that way too, Keith, but you know, it was like really dark, right? Like it was like everybody was down, and so you know, I was kind of down for a while, but and then I was telling you about that meditation group. You know, it was like 21 days of meditation, like through Deepak Chopra. And then now I'm like, okay, this is a new normal. So you can't just be crying all the time. We got to think of come out of the cloud, come out of the tunnel, and make every day like, you know, it's the best day of your life, right? Like you gotta try to be happy. Like is glass half full of half empty thing,
Right.
you know? So I'm trying to figure things out in better way, you know, to survive this quarantine time. But anyway, I talk a lot, just to let you
Oh,
know.
it's fine. I like hearing you speak. But this is, in a way, it's good and it's bad. And okay, I mean, it's bad because a couple thousand people, you know, died.
Yeah,
And this could have been done in January, you know, because they were getting notified, you know, everything about there might be a pandemic. Oh, the president said it. And they are, you know, this is not a Trump thing. You go back, you look at Obama, you look at Bush, you look at Clinton. They always said one day there will be a pandemic, but they never did. And it's PG 13. They never did jack shit about it. They always said that they could have stacked up on things, put it in a storage unit underground, whatever, leave it be. At least you would have been prepared.
mm-hmm.
But you know, you have to learn by your mistakes, and it's like apparently this is a big ass mistake.
Yeah,
But if everyone quarantine, I think my dad said about 6 weeks, to stayed in your house for 6 weeks, didn't do anything, it wouldn't have gotten to this point. But you know, people in Florida and Texas and
yeah,
whatever, they're so stupid over there. They say, "Oh, then it's now open. Let's go to the beach. So let's go this and that." And they're like, they actually interviewed people. Say, you know, you're supposed to be wearing your mask. Yeah, man. You know, it's spring break, and if we get it, great. If we die, whatever. Next day, everyone who was on that beach now has COVID-19. I said COVID-19. Who has now has the disease?
yeah.
It's kind of like people are stupid. I mean, like, Jesus, I'm supposed to want to be on the spectrum of being retarded, but for the most time, I can do laps around these people.
Yeah, I think people don't know, like people that are refusing to wear masks. I don't think they realize how bad it is when you get it. Like my husband's coworker got it, and he said it's no joke. Like you suffer. I guess your lungs shrink like
Yes.
crazy, and it's like you're gasping for the oxygen, and people don't realize how bad it would be. So it's kind of like, okay, how much effort does it take to wear masks?
No, or wash your hands.
Yeah. It's like I just make my masks with my my handkerchiefs. Like I have so many handkerchiefs because in Japan there used to be no paper towels. Okay, like at the bathroom we would actually use our own handkerchiefs. I thought that used to be beautiful, because we were wasting so much paper by having those paper towels. But anyway, so I just fold it like origami thing, and put like a little rubber bands around it. And so I never buy masks. I make my own thing. And some people have difficult time breathing in masks, right?
Yes.
But what does it take to just have like really something lighter? You don't have to have like 3 layers, right? Like you can just have something just to cover so people don't get offended.
No,
But
no, I
anyway,
agree. And and some people do prefer wearing handkerchiefs. They're not as, say, protective as a normal mask.
right.
But for me, I hate wearing a mask because my glasses always fog up.
Mine too. Yeah, I have contact lenses on right now, but yeah. And you can't really see
It's true.
what's ahead of you.
But the next question I was going to ask you, but in a good way, at least it gives you time. It's funny. People always said they wanted to stay home, do nothing, but it gives you time to reflect. Spend
Yeah,
time with your family.
yeah,
Look at your life. I mean, I interviewed someone who lives alone. You know, if I didn't have my talk show, and I would probably could be climbing up a wall or something
mm,
because there's nothing to do. But at the same time, hey, this is an opportunity. And it's great for social media. It's great for Facebook and Twitter. If you're a book writer, you can write a book. You can
yeah.
write a short story. So if you're people like, it's like I'm a big fan of Dragon Ball Z.
Kind of
And,
what?
I'm a big fan of DBZ.
DVZ?
Oh, like Goku and Vegeta.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what that is. What is
Oh,
it?
Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, Dragon Ball. Yeah. Okay, anime
Yes.
and a manga. Okay,
Those are my favorite.
okay, all
And
right.
there's a part where Vegeta, it's like he stands alone. It's like, oh, he's social distancing. Or there's a part where it's just a whole thing about social distancing. It's like, well, he's the expert of that. He always keeps himself far away from people. It's funny, but it's not funny
Right.
because this could have been over January. And supposedly they're working on vaccines. There
Mm-hmm.
might be something this fall, and even
Mm-hmm.
if there is, it's not about having a vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you have it. You have to you have to send it out. You have to disperse. I can't even pronounce the stupid word. Disperse.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever of it. So it takes a year, and then you have to deal with the people who don't want to be vaccinated, and
Right.
are like,
Oh
wait,
gosh. Ah,
I remember one
never
person. This
ending.
one person said, and I pass it over to you. This one person said, "I don't want a flu shot because when I got my son a flu shot, he now has a learning disability." Okay, people get flu shots all the time. That's not how learning disabilities work. So they always make up excuses.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, oh. Well, I guess if you don't want to get the shots, then or if you don't want to have children get the shots, then you just stay home and wear masks, right?
Put yourself in a bubble.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're right. I was going to say they can stick together, but they can't really stick together because they haven't gotten the vaccine. So yeah, yeah, that's so complicated. Oh my gosh.
Next question I do want to ask you is what were some of your favorite awards? And how you say you were nominated. Do you have any awards on you or?
Yeah, so I got, I'm looking at it right now on the computer, but I won from Independent Shorts Awards, Los Angeles, May 2020, Bronze Award for Best Actress for this short film that I did with this amazingly talented Chinese director who's back in China right now, but yeah, she made this really fantastic thriller, and I played a mother, and I'm actually the main character. I really want my daughter to be more obedient. I mean, Chinese family, and so I would take her to this doctor. I can't really tell you the whole thing, but yeah, so I think the day before or on the day before the shoot, the director said, "Hey, Saki, so the girl that's playing your daughter, she's got a really thick Chinese accent, and it will be kind of weird that she has accent and I don't have Chinese accent. So can you learn Chinese accent?" So I did my best, in the movie. I didn't want it to make it comical, so I didn't overdo it. But that was the best, Chinese accent I've ever done. But, I didn't think I was going to win anything. So it's like the best way. I just got emailed this certificate of achievement from the director. "Hey, Saki, you won an award." I'm like, what? So that was one. And then yesterday, she sent me another certificate of achievement. This one is a nomination. So I haven't, I didn't win it, but I was nominated for the best actress in the same movie, the Room 3. And it's from Indie X Film Fest. So this one is for July 2020. So these independent, international short film festivals, they would select these winners, award winners for each month, and then they would put them all together for the annual award. So we are up for the annual award.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's very awesome.
So it's exciting. This is actually my first award that I've ever received as an actress. So I'm like so excited.
No, you deserve it.
Yeah.
One thing you didn't mention about your accent, because you do hide your Japanese accent. One thing I would say to you is don't hide it. It's a part of you. It's a talent. Just embrace it. Because I interview other people who have accents or like, oh, my agent said I can't have this role because I have a strong accent. First off, if that's the case, the agent's an asshole. And you should go find somebody else because there's no excuse that you say, if you have the looks for it, because you do have the looks for it, and that you can put on a great show, you're beautiful, if you can captivate people, accents have nothing to do with it. So don't look for excuses. It's like saying I interviewed one person who's in a wheelchair, and they're like, "Oh, we can't get you any acting roles." Well, you can't get me an acting role where I'm just sitting at a bar, sitting in a chair, sitting on a couch. You can't get me any sitting roles. Or, you can prop me up with something, and you can do green screen, and you can make it look like I'm standing. So people look for excuses, either you're in a wheelchair, there's nothing, you have disabilities, you can't do anything, you have an accent. Like for an example, I have you on the show. I don't care that you speak Japanese. I think that's wonderful. I love that. And so it's people who can be open-minded and saying, this is what I have. This is what I have to work with. And we can make the best of it. Because people have their heads up their asses saying, well, it's this. Well, it's all you get is excuses. And that's why things don't work out. But the thing I want to ask you,
Yeah.
go ahead.
All right, Keith. So I've booked things just because I can speak. Well, I didn't have to speak Japanese, but this first national commercial that I've done, it's, okay, so the description of the role, okay, was auto technician, okay? So I go to the audition. There are all these huge guys, beard and caps on, like truck drivers. And here I am, just me, I'm like, okay. And I call my agent. They're no longer around in LA, DDK. So, I'm like, I think I'm at a wrong place. And the agent's like, no, it said any ethnicity. Okay. I was like, okay, all right. So I just go in there. And so the casting director said, okay, so you're going to be tapped on your shoulder and you're going to tell them, oh, it's, go upstairs and then go straight into the aisle 3 and then you'll see that on your right, something like that. I just make it up. I was like, okay. So he taps on my shoulder. I'm like, それだったら2階に行って、それまっすぐ行って左の方に行ったらありますからね. And, the casting director was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Okay. And then I got a call back. Okay. I'm like, okay, this is a joke, right? I just said to my agent, like, yeah, I was the only girl. I was only Asian. I was only, petite person. They're like, oh, don't worry about it. So I go to the call back and the director's there. And I'm like, okay, do you want me to do the same thing? So he was like, yes. So I do the same thing and they're laughing, And then, in the waiting room, there were all these guys with beard and I booked the job. So, there are some good parts, but, if you go to Japan, if you can't speak Japanese, it's not easy to become an actor. You can't, it's a part of communication. So the best way to expand the world of being an actor is to be able to speak any sort, if you can speak so many different accents, that's great. So many different languages, it's great. And yeah, some people would say what you just said, but as an actor, you gotta be able to, you gotta be willing, to learn. And learning is fascinating, and you can't just limit yourself like, hey, I should be able to still get the job, although I only speak Japanese. You can't just do that. Yeah, I mean, even if you're older, I have some students that are like 60, but he's making progress, slower than 20s, but he's making great progress. And so you can't just that's another excuse people would have, like, hey, you've been in US since you were in high school. I've only been in US since I was in 30s. Then what? Go back to Japan. If you don't want to learn English, go back to Japan, So I think it's it's good to have the option to be able to learn, and to be able to expand your role. It's sad, but when you get the breakdowns, when the agents get the breakdowns, it would say, Asian female in late 30s, or it would say Caucasian or African American or Latino or European or, and I can't go for the roles of French woman, So it's good to have the option, it's good to be flexible as an actor and enjoy.
Well, hypothetically, if you could speak French, would you still go for it anyway?
Je parle français très un peu, mais j'étais en France pendant 5 semaines. I was in France for 5 weeks. When I was in college, I lived with a French family for 5 weeks. So I speak a little bit of it, and I'm willing to, I'm willing to study. Like if I get the role as a French woman, I would love to study French, or Italian if I get a role as an Italian woman, or, whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
if you can pull it off, it's great. The last thing I do want to talk to you about is
Mhm.
we're going to go overtime. I'm going to give you it because I like you. We're going to give you an extra 11 minutes.
All right.
Do you think that stereotyping is a part? Have you ever gone into an acting role where people always had you automatically pegged? It's like, oh, you're Asian, so you have to do these Asian parts. Do you think stereotyping will eventually go away? And how does that affect you with your acting role? And before you answer that, if people are like, oh, for me, you have glasses and you have a disability, you can be a science guy or you can be this guy. Like, oh, that's okay. I can do that, but I don't want to be labeled as a science because there's certain people that you can be labeled in a good way. Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, Chris Evans, Captain America, Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man. But there's certain people like Sam Neill, Jeff Goldblum, oh, scientists. Okay, can they do anything else? But it's like, no, you have to look for the scientists. But with everything that you accomplished, have you ever experienced stereotypes?
Are you kidding me? Well, I actually don't mind the stereotypes, well, I think it's something that we can't really get away from, because as long as we produce some historical things, or like geisha girls, you can't really have different races play the geisha girls in samurai movies, unless it's like Westworld, um, yeah, and those are the roles that we really want. If it's a geisha girls, then we want Japanese people to play it. Although Memoirs of a Geisha, it was Chinese women that great actresses, but it wasn't Japanese. So we were really, really sad that they didn't select Japanese actresses for the main characters. And we need to really embrace our own races, our own kinds, kind of like Westworld again. We've been watching Westworld recently. And I did work in Westworld as I did a little translation and stuff for them. But anyway, so I really don't mind it. I really don't. I think it's, I was offended to see, white people play Asians, geisha roles back, way back when, the Hollywood started. Marlon Brando trying to speak Japanese and stuff like that. And so now I think we should really embrace each other, but also ourselves too. And what we've got, from greater power, I think there's a meaning for us to be in our own skin. And, I think every single person's beautiful. Every single person's unique. And, there's nothing wrong with anybody, So that's how I feel. And, so I used to work with Stan Lee. He's a great creator. And we made 2 animes for Japan, one called Hero Man, another one called The Reflection. Reflection was actually one of his last projects he's ever done. But, he used to play all these different roles, right? Like as a cameo. And I used to go watch the movies just to see him. Like, I love Spider-Man, you know, when he's like cleaning, he's a janitor and he's cleaning, and there's like, you know, he's got this, did you see that? Like, he's got the earphone, he can't see, hear anything, and he just you know. And he played so many different characters, right? Like a truck driver too, and someone like him, he can get away with it. But he wouldn't play a Japanese girl, you know. He wouldn't play he didn't play a samurai. Maybe he could have. With that voice, he could have played anything. Yeah, acting is great because you can be anything. And especially on the stage. Oh, I miss stage. But, yeah, we can be anything. We can play any role. And, yeah, but on the screen, you can't really, there's a limit, you know. And there's a limit, and you can play the role, different roles in your limitation. You know, for me, I can't really play girls in 20s anymore. And although I did play 91-year-old woman on stage, you know, I loved it. I was like, and then I was like singing high notes, you know, I was singing soprano with that, like, and I'm like, okay, my back hurts. Yeah, but that was called Letters to Eve, and it was made by Daniel Sugimoto. He's amazing, and he actually played the piano and sang the entire Les Miserables the other day, like a week ago. Oh my gosh, he did the whole entire musical. He's that kind of person. But yeah, so yeah, some people actually don't like playing the bad, you know, like the villains, but I love playing bad characters. And I played homeless woman, you know. I'm sorry, I just play anything that I can get a hold of. I guess I can. I think, you know, just like I said, each and every person on the earth is made unique, and you know, I don't really feel like stereotype is a bad thing. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's bad?
If, personally, if someone fits the role, you know, I think they should get it. You know, one thing I do want to ask you is people always joke about this. Do you think the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was racist because, you know, the Black Ranger was black, the Asian girl was yellow, the guy, Red Ranger, was red because he's Native American? It's like, dude, it's a kid's cartoon. Who cares about that? They fit the part. But then if you really think about it, it's kind of like, huh, well, after hearing that, it kind of takes away from it. But they were great, you know. But the other thing I wanted to tell you, then I will pass the show over to you, is they're actually working, I think they actually produced it, the Mulan movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, and there should be, and I actually, two parts, I said there should be a Mulan movie played by an Asian woman. Well, I don't know if Disney wants to do that. They actually want to have Scarlett Johansson. You know, she's great, but she's not Asian. And as you said, white people pretending to be Asian. If you're going to do something right, either you're going to do it right or you're not going to do it at all. And so happened they actually picked an Asian girl to be Mulan. But passing the show over to you, you know, was there anything you wanted to talk about, anything you wanted to promote? You know, you have any upcoming projects?
Okay, so on YouTube, you know, because we can't really film in person, I've been collaborating with these amazing actors, and they are husband and wife. They have this channel called Tiny Space Productions. Okay, Tiny Space Productions, and it's so hard to find good scripts in this world. And Justin, the husband, he's an amazing, I would say, totally, you know, up and coming writer, comedy writer, and he's been writing all these scripts. And so I play the older sister, and his wife Tomomi plays the younger sister. And we've already made 3 episodes of different, like, they don't really, they're not continuous, okay? So these episodes are like just one by one. And, he's written these scripts that's making fun of things. So the first one is called and it's making fun, not really making fun, but it's a spoof of Maria Kondo, like tidying up. And then the second one is all about surviving. It's called Smelly Area, and it's a spoof of Quiet Place. And the third one is sportcasters, and we're it's making fun of sportcasters that are out of job because of this quarantine. So I want you to like check it out, as well as my American English AHA channel. That's all about me teaching American English to Japanese people. But it's kind of interesting. Like, I've got some guests speaking in 3 sentences in each episode, and it would be great if you can be a part of it, Keith. That'd be great if you can like say 3 sentences in the future in
Sure.
American English.
I would love to work with you.
Okay, that'd be great. Okay, and you can advertise or promote your show.
No, absolutely. You help me, I help you. Now, the last 2 questions for you, then we can talk off the air. How can people follow you on social media? Are you on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, any website you would recommend?
Yeah. Everything. At Saki Miata on Instagram, and Saki Miata McCarthy on Facebook, and LinkedIn. I'm Saki McCarthy. I'm promoting more about my bilingual services there. But yeah, I'm very approachable. I'm everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. My last question for you, how I wrap up all the shows. When I want you to be brutally honest. When I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your honest first reaction to the email? What made you say yes? And how do you feel now? Would you recommend it to other people?
Okay, so I can't remember like when exactly you approached me. I think it was like a year ago, 2 years ago. I can't remember. But I felt like I had to have something to talk about, like at that point, I didn't really feel like I had any accomplishment, or I didn't really have much to offer. So I think I told you that, and I was like, can you wait till I have something to talk about?
Right.
And today is a great timing because, my YouTube channel is doing pretty well, starting off. And I think we've got like 120 subscribers within 2 weeks now. So they're like, I've got some award and nomination for my acting, so that's great. And I guess when you approached me, I could have talked about Stan Lee, and we were making. I was producing the voiceover, the dubbing of Japanese original into English, the reflection. So I could have talked about that, but I think I was just a little too. Everything was going too fast or something. Yeah, but. Yeah, I mean, it's been fun and great to talk to you, Keith. And it's great. Thank you.
No, absolutely. Normal conversation. And like I said, you're making a new friend out of it. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. While wrapping up our interview segment, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, and looking forward to part 2 down the road.